everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is me, what's up? So in today's video, we are going to be continuing with our Let's Get Crafty series. So this is the part 2 to the multiple part series that I'm doing about me sewing a dress. So if you haven't already seen part 1, I will go ahead and put the little eye up there. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. But if you are coming back from that video, hello, welcome to part 2. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and comment down below any questions that you may have regarding sewing or just anything in general. So today we are just going to focus on putting our pattern pieces on our fabric because it can get a little confusing and complicated. So you guys are going to go ahead and watch me do that and cut out all of the pieces and how I like organize them and make sure that I have everything. And then I'm going to teach you some basic sewing skills. So we're just going to go over how to set up your machine. I can obviously only show you how I set up my brother sewing machine. So if you don't have a brother, it's pretty much like the same with every sewing machine, but I will show you how to thread a machine, how to thread a bobbin, and how to insert your bobbin and then get the actual bobbin thread mixed in with your normal thread. So you will know how to get your machine ready to sew, and in the next video I will show you how to actually start sewing. So we'll do the first few steps of sewing the dress together. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and please comment down below any questions that you have because I will happily answer them. I really want this series to like help new sewers and yeah, just be like a helpful resource for people. So I will see you guys downstairs. Okay, so we are downstairs. I have my fabric laid out with the pretty sides together and the ugly sides out. So I'm taking all of my pattern pieces and laying them out on the fabric. So with this particular project, I actually followed the placement example that they have in the actual pattern just because I was looking at it and it like made sense to me. Like I was like, oh, that makes sense. That'll save me some time and some effort. So I actually went with the photo that's in the actual pattern. So this placement wasn't totally random. It was more like me looking at the picture in the pattern and then placing it how it was in that picture. So with those examples, sometimes you will see that it'll tell you to put the pattern piece upside down. So usually like the little dotted things, like if the pattern has like the shape of the pattern piece that it wants you to put down dotted, that means that it wants you to put the printed side down against the fabric and the not printed side up, if that makes sense. It could be a little confusing when you look at it, but if you really like try, it's not that hard. But I'm just pinning on all of the tissue paper right now. I used to use like that fabric spray where you could like spray it onto the paper and then it'll get like sticky and the pattern pieces just kind of stick on. But I don't do that anymore. Now I just pin it because it's easier. But now I'm taking some fabric scissors that I got from Joann and I'm cutting it out. PSA, always use paper scissors to cut out your paper patterns, but then use fabric scissors to cut out your fabric because it'll keep the fabric scissors nice and sharp, so it'll cut the fabric really cleanly. So yeah. And also, so now I'm just taking a Sharpie, as you can see, and I'm adding all the little dots onto the pieces that I need to add dots to. So in our last video, when I was teaching you how to read a pattern and all of that jazz, like what all the different symbols mean, I mentioned the whole dot system. So mark those with a Sharpie so that you have them for reference, because it's very helpful when you're piecing everything together. So now I'm just cutting out stuff still. The whole like cutting out process takes a very long time. It's kind of the most frustrating part of sewing, I feel like, because it's just like, it's a freaking process, you guys. Like, it's a lot. And just making sure that everything is like perfect. And with this pattern in particular, there are certain pieces that you need to cut multiple of, so pay attention to if it says cut 2 on fold, or cut 1 on fold, or just cut 2 or cut 1, because that's important. Like with that piece that I'm working on right now, the little like half circle, that was a cut 2 on fold, so I had to save that piece on the side to cut another one later. So always pay attention to that, because I have messed up a lot of times and like not paid attention to that and then being like, oh, LOL, I forgot that I needed to cut out another one of those, so that's great. So yeah, I would honestly take note of it on like a little post-it note, like if you know that you're gonna forget, because it's important. Also, I leave the pattern pieces pinned onto the fabric after I cut it. It's just like an easier way to keep track of the pattern numbers, because when you're actually starting to sew stuff together, sometimes it'll say, oh, take piece number 1 and attach to piece number 3, and you're like, hold up, what's piece number 1? So this is just like an easy way for you to keep organized and make sure that you have all of your pieces together. So now I'm taking that extra piece of fabric that I saved off the end of my original piece of fabric to do the whole cut 2 pieces. So these are all the pieces that said cut 2 of the fabric on the fold. So when it says cut 2, it means like you need to cut 2, because I feel like sometimes it's kind of confusing, because you're like, oh, well, it's already cutting 2 because I have the fabric folded. It means technically, not to confuse anybody, but technically it means to like cut 4 if you're not cutting on the fold, if that makes sense. If I just confused you, I'm sorry. Oh my god, sewing is confusing. But okay, I'm taking a little break, chilling on my phone because a boy was texting me. Had to respond to that. And cutting out the last piece. Wow, so fun. Yay. Almost done. It's lit. Okay, then I take all of my scrap pieces, fold them all up. If they're bigger, I save them. If they're tiny, I throw them away. Then I go ahead and lay out all of my pieces, making sure that I have everything together. Then I take the pieces that I had to unattach to cut multiple of, and I repin it to the pattern piece so I remember which number is which. And I just pretty much go through and double check that I marked all of the little darts and the dashes and that everything is in order, so that I don't have to run to the store and buy some more fabric because I screwed up. And those are all of my beautiful pattern pieces all laid out and pretty. Yay! Okay, so we are at our sewing machine now. So basically what we want to do first is make sure that everything is set up properly. So we want to make sure that everything is plugged in and that we have our pedal plugged in to the back of the sewing machine. Then we're going to go ahead and turn it on. So now the machine is on. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill our bobbin. So this is called a bobbin. So this is just what helps to sew your garment. So it sits in the bottom of your sewing machine right here. And it basically threads through to your upper thread. So that all makes sense in a second. I know it's kind of confusing. So to fill a bobbin, you're going to take the bobbin out. It usually sits in this little thing here. So after you take your bobbin out of the bottom part of your machine, you are going to take your thread and you are going to maneuver the thread into that little hole, but you're gonna go from underneath. Oh wait, that's not the hole, sorry. Wrong one. So you're gonna go from underneath up. Oh, this is hard with nails. Okay, so then the thread, as you can see, if it will focus, which it never will, it goes from under up. Okay, then that's when you're going to place it up on this part of your machine. Then you are going to move this little notch over, and it's a little stiff, so it's okay if you have to kind of push it. So now it is there, okay? If you have an older sewing machine, at this point, you would take this notch here. You would hold the side that turns, and this side turns the opposite way, so it goes like this. But my machine is newer, so it doesn't have that, but this is for older machines. If you have an older machine, you would grab here, twist it to loosen your needle. By loosening your needle, it makes it so that your machine isn't running the needle up and down while you are filling your bobbin. You have your bobbin here, right? The thread is going up. So, take your thread, place it there on your little spoolie. Then you're going to take your thread around, wrap it forward, and then back. Then you place your bobbin there. So let's get a close-up of that. So you're taking your thread, it runs along, it goes through the front, around the back, all the way through, up into the bobbin. Once you get to this point, shift it over so it'll make that clicking noise. Now, all you have to do is make sure your speed is all the way up, just to make it faster. Hold on to this part of the thread nice and tight and press down on the pedal. Okay, now your bobbin is full. So you can flip it over, cut the thread, and you have a full bobbin. So that's relatively easy to do. So now is when it gets a little bit more complicated. So now that you have your threaded bobbin, we are going to open up, with my nails it makes it a little bit more difficult, but we're going to open up the machine, place the bobbin inside, and wind it around so that the thread is now sticking out. Then we are going to place the little cover back on, clip it. So now your bobbin is in the machine, it is filled. Just be sure that the thread is sticking out, so it'll show you too on your little machine how it's supposed to wind, so it goes that way. Now to thread your machine with this top thread up here. You're going to want to take it out of that little slot that it was in. And what you are going to do, so you want to take your thread, you're going to go down, this is so hard with one hand, down here, clip it through. So do you see how that is? It goes down in the back to the front. Then with the thread in this hand, you're gonna go ahead and bring it down that little tube thing. It's gonna go up this slot, around this hook that's in there, and down. Now we are down here. So then we're going to take it, hook it through this little hook. So it's on the right hand side, there's an opening there. You're gonna take the thread and hook it around. Now is the frustrating part. You have to try to fit it through the little hole of the needle. So now you need to fit it through that little teeny tiny hole that you see right there. So I'm gonna have to get close to this in order to do that. So you want to put it through the front of the needle, going through to the back. So you can see how the thread is going up into the back of the needle through the back. So it goes from front to back. Then you're gonna want to pull this out like a lot. So that the tails are really long. Now is the fun part that doesn't always go as planned. Trying to connect the bobbin thread with the actual thread. So let's try it. So what you're gonna wanna do is move the speed to low again. Then you are going to hold these threads. You're going to turn the needle down Okay, and then you're gonna wanna pull it through so that your bobbin thread comes through the bottom of your presser foot. So now your threads are looped. So if you need to see that again, basically what you do, this bobbin thread is coming out from here, right? This top thread is coming out from the needle up here. You hold both threads down, you move the needle down twice using your turning knob on the side of your machine, and it'll dip through twice. After the second dip, when the needle is back to being risen up, you are going to scoop with your finger or like some scissors, scoop it out right below the needle so that the threads, the thread that is coming from the bobbin below comes up through this little presser foot area. Now your machine is threaded and you are ready to sew. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, just remember, comment them down below. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. We're very close to 100 subscribers. I say that in every single video, but we're actually like only 5 subscribers away. So if you enjoy this content and you want to see more from me, go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like if it was helpful. Also comment down below if you have any, requests, things for me to sew, because I will happily sew those things. So I will see you in the next video where I actually start sewing the dress. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you on the flip side.